Welcome back to Woods, Water, and the Word. We have been all week trying to get a video downloaded and we've been having trouble. So we're going to try again tonight. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to take an old video that I did back in November of 2020, and it's caping a deer, properly caping a deer. And in my line of business, I do taxidermy work. I get all kind of stuff in. And anyway, I've been telling people for 2 years that I was gonna post this thing whenever I got the channel started. So it's February the 1st, 2022 now. And so what you're about to see is that caping video. You might ask why we're going to do that now. One of the reasons is so people can get used to watching that particular video, and they can kind of be in their mind a little bit. And also, we've still got a little bit of deer season left on the eastern side of our state. So, you know, somebody may go on an axis hunt in the spring or something like that, and that caping, the caping of that type of animal, any horned or antlered animal will be basically the same. So hopefully we can get this spliced together and make it work. All right. Well, welcome to Woods, Water, and the Word today. We're going to be doing some a caping a deer. I've been a taxidermist for 22 years, and I still get in capes, get in deer that are just messed up. And what I want to do is make this video to hopefully show you the proper way to do this. And any taxidermist will want you to do it like this. In today's time, we've gotten in, I guess you would say, modern taxidermy. We have mannequins that have a whole lot more brisket involved in them. It's not just neck mounts anymore for people that's had taxidermy done years and years back. So I'm going to show you how to cape this deer out. And this is a broke horn buck that I actually killed this morning. And one of the, well, we needed some more meat, but another reason was I needed a buck to be able to do this. So when I get them in, they're generally already done. So we're going to show you how to do this, and hopefully this will be helpful. You'll share it with your friends, and it'll be helpful to you. So instead of, I get people in here all the time, I'll ask them about how they caped out their deer, and they'll tell me, they'll say, well, I got it all the way from the nose all the way to the tail. Well, the one thing about that is I don't need the tail to mount it. And all that does, one of the key things here that I want everybody to remember is bacteria is not a friend in taxidermy. It's and we need to keep things as cool as we can, get it cool as quickly as we can, and not have any bacteria build up. And when we take a hide, when somebody skins it and leaves all of this hide on the deer, and even worse, wraps it around the head, for some reason they think that that's a good thing, and it's not. When we've got all that, it takes forever to get that cooled down after you put it either in a refrigerator, a cooler, or in a freezer. We already know that a deer's hair is insulated, and when we wrap all that up, it takes it that much longer. So we want to leave the least amount of skin or hide on a deer that we can, and we also want to leave the least amount of meat. I'll get a cape in here. A lot of times, it may have literally 7-8 pounds of meat still hanging on the hide. You want to get the meat off, and if all possible, just slow down. I mean, you've got your buck. You want to get it mounted. You want it done right. You want it to look good, and that starts with with the care of it at the very beginning. So we want to make sure we get the meat off, and I'm going to show you how. This little tool right here is good. We're going to ring this deer in just a minute. It's I think it's made to cut vinyl. Now, I think it's made to cut vinyl flooring. My videographer decided she was going to do some talking. That's funny. Anyway, but anyway, I think it's to cut vinyl, but it works real good on ringing deer and stuff like that. So we're going to do that, and we're going to use this little tool. You can use a gut hook on a knife. You can use anything that you want to. We're actually going to come, I tell people all the time, with the deer hanging by his back legs and his front legs parallel to the ground, and that's exactly where he's kind of gotten stiff there, parallel to the ground. You want to come about 3 inches behind the back shoulder, and what we're going to do is we're going to ring all the way around at this point. That leaves us plenty of hide to begin with, and we can get rid of all this later. Now, I will say this, if you're like me and you're real particular about your meat, you want your meat clean, you don't want hair in it, this will sometimes get a little bit of hair on your meat, but it's easy to wash it off. You're not going to cape out every deer buck you kill anyway, but so it's worth the time to be able to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and use this hole here. Just notice that shot there. That was a perfect shot, by the way. I shot this deer with I call my gun Old Thumper. It's a single shot, full 44. And we're here in central Louisiana. In Louisiana, we don't have muzzleloader anymore. We have something that's called primitive weapon season. There's nothing primitive about these weapons that we're using. But the state of Louisiana gets another $10 license for that particular thing. So goes our money. Anyhow, so I'm going to use this hole right here as kind of our starting point. I'm going to use this hook, and I'm just going to come all the way around the deer. So be patient with me for just a minute, and we'll get this thing rung all the way around. This thing just works really, really, really good. All right, we've got it completely rung now all the way around the deer, and if we come straight down, we've got plenty of cape for any shoulder mount that's out there. Now the next thing is the front legs here, and sometimes people that are real conscious about it, they'll just tube them out. You don't have to work that hard. Come to the first knuckle and give a little bit of extra here, because if you cut this too high, it gets into this white, and you see this when your mouth's hanging on the wall. You're going to see all this brisket area, so it's real important. We want to make sure we've got a little extra there. But the best thing to do is take this and go ahead and just ring it on this knuckle. A good sharp knife, and these are just my knives I use in the shop a lot. They're just a little Victorinox knives. They're real easy to sharpen. Get them real sharp, and you can keep them sharp with a ceramic or a steel or anything like that pretty quick. So we're going to ring this right here, and then what I want you to do, instead of having to tube all this down, put your knife where the brown meets the white on the back of the leg, and just cut this straight up and right out to the cut here that we made just a moment ago whenever we rung it. So I'm going to use this knife. You can use your gut hook. You can use whatever you got where the white meets the brown. As long as you're on the back of the leg, you're fine. That one's done. And that one's done. Now we can start working it down. Let me get that other knife. I use this as a fleshing knife, and this thing works really well. I really don't know what its original use was. I think I did it one time and I've forgotten what it was. But anyway, it works real good for caping and fleshing things because it doesn't have a sharp point on it, and you have less chance of actually cutting something. So when we start skinning this out, generally people take this and they'll just pull it out and just start skinning. And I was talking about the meat that gets on the hide. Come around here. That gets on the hide. Get close to the hide to where you actually see the hide. You can see how well these knives work. And you're not putting a bunch of a bunch of meat on the skin. So as this skin begins to cool off, it cools off quickly. Quicker it cools off, the less opportunity or chance we have for bacteria. And I'm going to tell you something else. That 265 grain STX Hornady puts out for that 444. I've also used it in a 30-30, and I've got a friend that uses it in a 35 Remington. Those are just really good bullets for a quick, clean kill. This deer didn't hardly go anywhere whenever I shot. It was notice that skin and how clean it is right there. That's important we get it, because I'm telling you, I get them in here all the time, and it'll just have 6, 7, 8 pounds of meat hanging on it, and it's not good. And then when I get it out of the freezer to start working on the skin, the problem is sometimes it'll take 2.5 days to get it completely thawed out. Well, if your face and all that is getting thawed out, then it's sitting at room temperature all that time, and it's just not good for your skin. And I always, when I get them like that, I just hold my breath, because I don't want to lose a hide. We can replace hides in taxidermy work, and we have to do that on occasion. I got a customer in the other day. His little boy killed a buck. He's 12 years old. Killed his first buck. I just made a hole right there, so I'll have to sew that, because I'm going to use this cape as a spare cape for somebody else's. And anyway, and the brisket was just butchered bad, butchered so bad that I can't even put it back together to sew it, because it'll just it would be very obvious. You couldn't sew that convincingly, so it's just easier to put a spare cape. But my point is it's best not to have to use a spare cape if you don't have to, and just be able to use the cape that the deer came with, was dressed with right out of the woods. And also, while I'm doing this and talking here, went to Harbor Freight several years ago, and they ran that little electric winch that I got this deer hanging on sale. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was under $100, and I have literally used that thing. I don't know how long I've used it. So if you're looking for something that you can hang up in a garage or your barn or something like that. I mean, I used to use a tractor and all, but I can come in here and close the door when it gets good and cold, and I don't have to be out there working the tractor up and down. And just take your time and work all the way around the deer. If you leave a little bit of meat on, I'm going to show you right here. That's not going to hurt anything, just a little bit of meat. You just don't want those big chunks of meat on it. That's what slows down its cooling. I didn't get all the way through here, I guess. And by the way, I think I got this thing at Lowe's. It's a Cobalt, and it wasn't very much either, but boy, they sure worked good for this. Man, that's the entrance wound on that 265 grain FTX. Man, that's just devastating. And this one had his antlers all busted up. I'd like to seen the deer that done all that. I was actually hunting on a public land. I say actually, that's mostly what I hunt on is public land, and they were doing some shooting this morning. They do a 2-day primitive weapon season, a Friday and a Saturday, and it's amazing the amount of animals they take out every single year. It's like that, but Also, if you want to, it's a good idea. Let me go ahead and show them this while I'm doing this. Man, if you can get your taxidermist a measurement before you do this, he will be grateful. Especially if you're like me, because I'm gonna skin this all the way to where the neck meets the atlas at the back of the skull. So he's gonna have to get a measurement. Man, if you can get it done while it's still got the skin on it, do that. I've already done it, but put it around the smallest part of the neck. That's what we call the C measurement in taxidermy work, and kind of pull it a little bit tight. And this one measures, well, it actually measures 17 inches at the small end. This deer only weighed 153 pounds. And then get an eye to nose measurement. Go to the corner of the eye. Get over here. Well, just go to the front corner of the eye and measure to the end of the nose. And this one is 6.5 inches. So if you can give your taxidermist that measurement, he's going to be tickled to death. And tell him how you did it, so he'll know he'll trust that you did it right. And you want to pull it tight because you got to cover hair and all that. If you just want to impress somebody by saying how big the neck was, it's not going to be the right mannequin. He's going to waste his time and money when he orders a mannequin. So go ahead and pull it tight and then tell him, say, look, it had a big swell. You know, it didn't have any swell or whatever it was. Let him know, and he's probably going to measure it anyway, remeasure it himself. I do, but it's nice when you got a customer that can give you a little bit of background on it. I'm going super slow here because I already cut a hole in there, which I almost never ever do. But I wasn't paying attention while I'm talking here, and this deer's got a little fat on him too. Louisiana deer. Anytime you get to any corners or anything like that, take your time. Y'all probably watching this video and this probably impressed with this knife. These knives are impressive because they're so much easier to work with. And I think I got this knife. I got this knife at a company that sells. It's called the Fishnet Company, and they sell. It's out of Jonesville, Louisiana. They sell all kind of commercial fishing supplies and stuff like that. And they had these in there, and that's where I got it. I think it was about $24, $25, but I'm telling you, it has been, these things are worth, I got two of them. They're worth their weight in gold, especially for me because I use them all the time. So if you just take your time, you won't have to worry about getting all that meat on the skin, and this skin is cooling off quickly as I take this off. But if it was covered with meat, it's going to stay hot between that skin and the meat. And one thing that I hate is to see a skin be going bad because it's got bacteria, and then the hide starts slipping, and then I got to start working extra to try to save it. And then you're still probably going to wind up with a bald spot here and there, which I don't like anything like that. So it's best if we can get it done. This hide right here won't have any, not even close to having an opportunity of slippage on it. I just killed this deer probably, I don't know, I guess it was about 9:30 this morning, and it's 1 or 2 in the afternoon right now. I'm going to do another video on taking the skin off of the head. It probably won't be this deer, but because if you travel hunt, and I don't know where you're from when you watch this. In fact, I don't even know if there's a lot of videos on YouTube that has this. I suppose that there probably is. I haven't actually looked. I just wanted to do my own. The way I do them, I think it's simple, and I know it's an effective technique to do it like this. But a lot of the states, like in Louisiana, you're not supposed to bring a head across the state line from another state into Louisiana that's got any brain matter or spinal, any of the spine on it, as far as close to the head. So, I mean, there's other states. I've known people that take them to taxidermists to have them caped out before they bring them into the state of Louisiana. And I've seen some taxidermists do it and you know, charge them what I consider as a nominal fee, and I've seen some just take advantage of people. So I'd rather just teach people how to do it themselves. And for you taxidermists that are out there that may be watching this video, don't panic, because I know what you feel like when you think about them taking it off the head. But if we can teach them properly, and they'll practice on a couple of deer, they can do it as good as we can as far as taking it off the head. So that won't be bad. But if you don't want to learn that and you don't want to do it yourself, that's fine. But if you're going to pay a taxidermist to do it somewhere, a fair fee would be $25. Too much more than that's not fair. And I mean, I've known people, or I've heard of people that have paid $50. It seemed like somebody told me they had to pay $100 to have it caped out. I mean, to do what I'm doing, you know, basically what I'm doing, not this part. I'm talking about just taking it off the head. The customer did this part. And that's just crazy. Take it off the head for $25. That's good for everybody. And there's different techniques for that too. I know what I like. I've been in this business for 22 years, and a lot of us taxidermists, you know, we do things differently a lot of times. But I'll show you how to take them. When I show you how to take them off the head, it might not be exactly the way your taxidermist will do it, but I promise you this: if you take it to him or her, and after you've done it like I'm going to show you how to do it, they'll probably start doing it themselves, because it's going to be a time saver, and it's going to eliminate a lot of problems whenever they go back to sew that up. One of the hardest things, one thing that can be aggravating once you start mounting a deer, the majority of taxidermists over time has used an incision called the Y incision, and those are okay. But we're going to do one, or what I do is called a T incision, and everything has right angles. And when you have a right angle, you know how to fit it right. And if we're, you know, in my humble opinion, if we're going to charge a customer good money to mount their animal, then we need to do the very best job we can, and we need to learn and do everything that we can to do it properly. So, and that's the reason that I went to the T incision. And hey, listen, your taxidermist may use the Y incision or some other incision and just be excellent at it, and that's fine. I'm not saying that anybody's doing it wrong. I just always think like this: there's a good way to do something, there's a better way to do something, and then there's the best way to do something. So I'm always looking for the best way, and I'm always been one of them kind of people that try to continue to learn. I don't just get etched in one thing and leave it there. I've been talking the entire time, and we're almost at this atlas, and be real careful down his throat, because you can cut that skin right there easily. And again, if you make a hole like I did, your taxidermist's not going to have a fit. I mean, we're used to sewing things, but sewing takes time, and and again, we want to do it right, and we want it to look good. If it's in the brisket area or something, in that white part, it's a little bit harder to hide than somewhere else. But I have people all the time tell me, I don't know if the hide's any good. I shot it, close, or don't worry about that sort of thing. When I first started learning taxidermy, that was one thing that the taxidermist that I was learning under, he said a good taxidermist can fix anything. I didn't understand that at first, but I'll say this: not only can a good taxidermist fix anything, but they're going to need to, because a lot of stuff's going to come in that's going to need fixing. So, all right, I'm just about there. Okay, I'm gonna finish up this video, because all I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to cut the neck off at the Atlas here. Some of you are going to cut the neck down here. It doesn't matter. I'd recommend you go to the Atlas, to the base of the skull here, and cut it out at that last joint where the spine meets the base of the neck. And another reason for that is less meat, and also neck meat is good meat. We eat our deer, a lot of it, and it's also that much less that's going in your freezer to freeze it. It's going to cool down faster. It's going to be lighter to carry around. There's just all the benefits in the world, and it's gonna get bloody whenever I start cutting all this, and so I don't want to. It's been a pretty easy video so far. So anyway, that's it. It's all the way down, and as you can see, well, I don't have any meat. Just little pieces right here, just thin pieces, and you can see how that works. So ring it about 3 inches behind the shoulder. Go from the brown from the white, cut it on up, and just start peeling it down. When you cut it off at the head, put it in the freezer. Just drop it straight in a bag. Don't try to wrap it. Certainly don't wrap it around the head or anything. Please don't do that. Just let the hide just go straight down into the bag. Pull the bag around the antlers, however you want to do that. Drop it in the freezer, and get it to your taxidermist at your convenience. So hopefully this video has helped you. Pass it on to others if you'd like. We'd love for you to do that. If you think you'd like to see some more of our videos, I'm going to be doing all kind of stuff, everything from taxidermy work to doing reviews on marine stuff, boats, electronics, different tools and things like that. I'm going to be doing some hunting stuff. I'm going to do some funny stuff, y'all, that's going to be absolutely ignorant. So just because I like people to laugh, and you might get a kick out of it. And the most important thing is I'm unapologetically a Christian, a servant of the Lord Jesus Christ, and I'll be sharing some scripture with you from time to time, and may even do some video or some sermons and things like that. So if you like what you see and you think you're going to want to see more, please subscribe to our channel, and we'll appreciate it. And we'll see you next time on Woods, Water, and the Word.